Hey guys, let's have a look at some interesting insights into the astounding and artistic masterpiece of Bajirao Mastani that completed its 10 years in 2025. The video here is blended with some spoiler-rich content, so be warned. Bajirao Mastani stars Ranveer Singh and Deepika Padukone in the titular and in their respective roles of Bajirao 1 and Mastani, whereas Priyanka Chopra stars in the selfless yet an internally shaken character of Kashibai, wherein the undeterred leads look to write out their own eternal pages of a rebellious and a passionate love, whereas Kashibai seems to be devoted and unfaltered in her boundless and unshakable fascination for her husband. The film opens up on a poetic and a grandly scaled note, wherein the character in light seems to be addressing his subjects on the interactive yet immersive lines of urgency and, subjectively speaking, on the straightforward sheets of desperation. When he uses some creatively crafted phrases in order to emphasize on the meaningful matters of coexistence and dependence, when he uses the beautiful and delightful expressions of nature in his speech to underline and stress upon the fact that how very incomplete his being is without the priceless presence of his Prime Minister. As a greedy-eyed persona proposes forth his experience and talents for the vacant posting question here, a more honor-imbibed seeming individual lays forth his candidate as he states that he is the only one whose sword can justify the relentless and valorous spirit of the Maratha Empire. As the dutiful and presumably a resolutely honed character calls out the name of the central character of this magnificent tale, the camera seems to be skillfully drawing and sketching in the impeccable introduction of the protagonist here, wherein his fairy and fervent steps seems to be slating out his bold and brave-hearted demeanor. As the egoistically drunk character mocks the presence of this bright and boldly bladed future that lies ahead for this extremely rich empire, he presents him with an unprecedented and seemingly an unconquerable challenge when he must equally slit and triumph over the challenge that is catered ahead for him. As the courageous character who seems to be completely confident and in control of his innate and brushed-up qualities when his intense gaze and a single-minded attention yields up into a victorious outcome of awe-worthy proportions, when he gives an exemplary exhibition of his wholesome warriorness by displaying his dual and distinguished skills of the armed expertise along with that apt and a spot-on scholarly insightfulness. Now, the film that was directed by Sanjay Leela Bhansali stands out for its exquisite and enrapturing beauty of the film's physical locations, when those grand and gorgeous sets of Shaniwar, Wada and Aaina Mahal adds up the element of an emerald beauty to this terrifically tuned tale. What further adds up to the visually enchanting and epically designed grandeur of the film sets is the way Bhansali carries out his wonderful vision of portraying on screen this tremendous tale of two intense yet delicately souled individuals, when each frame of the film gives that distinguished fragrance of a mountainous and a memorable magnum opus. Everything about the film, from its vividly rendered verses to those majestically and marvelously choreographed war sequences to those magnetic and masterful melodies whose very versatility and remarkable richness range out from the subtle soundtrack of Mohe Rang Do Laal that skillfully and stupendously bring out the feminine grace of the film's female protagonist, wherein the musical album also comprises of that roaring and a more culturally rooted and a rocking rhythm of Malhari. My very favorite track from the film is that compellingly compiled composition of Aayat, wherein the song that is a meticulous and a magical mashup of both those classical and morally orchestrated score, when everything from its brilliantly brushed theme to its deeply decorative lyrics to its unparalleled and unmatchable vocal pitch that superbly ranges itself for those needful notes that the song presents itself with. There are many scenes that stand out for me in this film, right from the opening scene that reels out the rise of this legendary and illustrious warrior to the one that paints out the very page-turning moment of the highly dutiful life of these two undoubtedly dedicated soldiers to the one that ignites the very spark of the burning and limitless passion that these two zealful and fervent individuals share. But the one for me that stands the tallest among all of them is the one when these two go through an unusual and bizarre experience in their final moments, when that fabulously flowered and a highly stylized symmetry that Bajirao recited for her beloved and beautiful wife before departing and embarking upon his patriotic duties, wherein the final backward glance is yet again met with an empty slate on its spacious surface. Those retracked and replayed artistic brushstrokes that Bajirao vocally boiled for his wife serves as the epilogue for this spellbindingly sweet story, when both the central characters coincidentally fall into the comfortable and culminating laps of an almost identical death, wherein they fall into the arms of an eternal sleep, assumably to be rekindled on the other side of life and existence. The director for the film, Sanjay Leela Bhansali, first conceived the film in the 1990s. He officially announced it in 2003 with Salman Khan and Aishwarya Rai in the lead roles. However, their real-life breakup led to the project being shelved for over a decade, leading many in the industry to believe it was jinxed. In order to maintain a historical atmosphere and accurate authenticity, Bhansali refused to use modern electric lights for most indoor scenes. Approximately 30,000 rail oil lamps were used across the sets. In the Pinga song sequence, 12 crew members had to constantly run around to relight snuffed out the earth. To prepare for the role of Peshwa Bajirao, Ranveer Singh locked himself in a hotel room for 3 weeks to work on the character's gait, voice, and intense warrior mindset, leading him to curve and shape out an incredible persona of the late Peshwa when we applaud-worthingly lent out both a vigorous and a feather-cape delicacy to his character. When if the former stands as an authentic portrayal of his historical stature, the latter stated trait may or may not be true to the word of historical context. Both the leads of the film, Ranveer Singh and Deepika Padukone, underwent rigorous training in horse riding, sword fighting, and the ancient Indian martial art Kalari when it ultimately helped in sprouting out a completely in-command portrayal of these historical characters' supposedly stunningly sharpened quality. Now, the film that was released back on 18th December 2015 clocked its 10 years in 2025, wherein the memorable performances by the film's flawless leads, the rock-solid support by the film's secondary pillar, and the entire show-stealing act by the film's director makes this masterpiece a monumental and a staggering pearl that is forever etched in the treasured pages of Indian cinema. The warrior who stood strong in the face of a passionate audience. Hey guys, if you like my video, you can click on the like and share button, and you can also subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss upon these types of videos. Let's come together and celebrate the magic of movies.